Chapter 84. What are you doing, you bastard? Seeing Baekchun running at an insane speed, Chongmyung looked up at the sky with a soulless face. Oh dear, my poor fate. Baekchun lunged at Chongmyung and swung his sword without hesitation. Wait, why did he also have a real sword? What is with these disciples constantly taking out real swords? Who will take responsibility if they unsheath their sword and something crazy happens? While Chongmyung was lost in thought, Baekchun's sword threateningly sped towards him. A deep blue and black key formed around it, aiming for Chongmyung's shoulder. Baekchun did well to aim at a non-vital area despite his hysteria. But the after effects of that sword key will kill me anyway, you crazy bastard! Chongmyung kicked the flying sword with his foot. Kang! A loud sound rang throughout the area as the sword, layered in ki, and the foot collided with one another. Unable to withstand the impact, Baekchun was thrown back. Baekchun swiftly rose to his feet, alternating between Chongmyung and his sword. His eyes shook in bewilderment. Everything happened so quickly for him that he didn't understand what had happened. Chongmyung clicked his tongue and examined Yu Yiseol's condition. Such a huge sound broke out next to her while she was in a trance. So her enlightenment. She's fine. Normally, this much commotion would rouse a person from their enlightenment, but Yu Yiseol was still entranced. Slow. She's too slow, but she was benefiting from her dull-wittedness. It wasn't common for a person to fall into a trance while swinging their sword. In Buddhism, it was referred to as exaltation, in the sense that one forgets themselves, casting off their shell and entering a new realm. For warriors, this was the absolute most crucial moment. If she had been woken out of it, she would have regretted it all her life. Bastard! What are you doing? Don't you know how important enlightenment is for a warrior? And you attacked me despite knowing that? Chongmyung gazed at Baekchun with wide eyes. Touching someone in a trance, no matter how little common sense you have, there are some things you can't do, you ruthless brat. Baekchun stared at Chongmyung. It's true that I didn't like you, but I had no idea you were such a rotten bastard you'd even mess with someone in a trance. I should correct that habit of yours right now. Chongmyung took a deep breath. No, you idiot. I didn't mess with her. I helped guide her. But how would you know that? It's my fault. I'm the sinner here. If you knew how important the trance was, then why did you draw your sword and attack? What? What if your sword had gone towards Sago and hurt her? If you hadn't counterattacked, then I should just die? Chongmyung responded to Baekchun, who seemed flustered. Are all the Baek disciples crazy? The world is usually dominated by ordinary people, with a few madmen mixed in. However, it seemed like the Baek disciples took that rule in reverse and flooded themselves with insane kids. Out of all the Baek disciples Chongmyung talked to, there wasn't a single normal person yet. If Yoonjung had heard, he would have said that one dog was barking at another, but he wasn't here to complain. Are you saying that I was trying to kill you? It didn't look like you wanted me alive. It was an urgent situation, and you even drew a sword. That... Baekchun's face, which heard Chongmyung's argument, flinched. Wait a moment. As Chongmyung said, Baekchun utilized sword ki on a real sword, so how was he able to escape without a single wound? Does that mean this kid could casually handle Baekchun's attack? Get away from Same! Baekchun's face hardened as he spoke in a determined voice. I won't ask what you are doing, but put your sword down and step away from her. Otherwise, you will have to deal with me as a warrior and not your Sasuk. Oh, doesn't that sound good? Chongmyung was delighted. Really? Great. This was what Chongmyung was hoping for. You bastard. Until the end. Baekchun gnashed his teeth. Humans were the sort that needed to adjust their thinking based on their individual situations. If your perspective changed, then Baekchun's anger was reasonable. From his point of view, an irredeemable taboo had been transgressed by his junior. Normally, it was right to put a stop to those actions. The problem was, Chongmyung licked his lips and turned his head. If I help a little more, it seems like something amazing will happen. Yu Yiseol was currently in a state of enlightenment. Although it usually didn't occur in such a random fashion, enlightenment always comes on suddenly. Who knew when, or even if she would have another opportunity like this? Some people fight and struggle their entire lives without ever experiencing enlightenment, while others reach that state from ordinary tasks like eating. This wasn't something that could be sought after with effort, or because one desires it to happen. It depends on the will of heaven, and the greatest miracle that occurred to Yu Yisol was not simply enlightenment. It was that Cheongmyeong was by her side at the time she entered her trance. Basically, those who fall into a trance forget themselves and their surroundings, focusing solely on their sword. During this, they develop their own sword or the next level of their sword, and sometimes they achieve a higher realm. That was why nobody should tamper or touch them. A serious accident could happen if the opponent didn't understand how to properly handle the sword. But who is Cheongmyeong? He is an amazing martial artist who understands all of Mount Hua's sword techniques and set foot on a plateau no one had ever climbed before. With his current body, attaining enlightenment might not be possible, but it will be difficult to find anyone in Mount Hua who has a better understanding of sword techniques. Even if one considers the entire history of Mount Hua, one might not find a greater master. So, he could intervene in Yu Yisol's trance and guide her to a higher realm. Why did that bastard have to show up? It is even more difficult to lead one in front of others. If something went wrong, it would turn into a bigger problem. Cheongmyeong glanced at Yu Yisol. What can I do? This is your luck. Although it was a pity that he couldn't help someone who might lead Mount Hua, Cheongmyeong didn't feel much regret since that ship had already sailed. But it's another thing altogether to beat the guy who made you miss the ship. Cheongmyeong took a couple of steps away from Yu Yisol and glared at Baekchun. Is this enough? More. He once again took a couple of steps away from Yu Yisol. Is this good? Are you messing with me? Get out of here. I have no intention of letting you harm Same. Who's the one causing harm here? You're the one causing harm. Is that any way to speak to your senior? Cheongmyeong speechlessly stared at the sky after hearing Baekchun's response. Why are these kids so obsessed with formalities? Yu Yisol was the same, and now Baekchun too. Yes, Sasuk. The problem here is Sasuk. Baekchun stared at Cheongmyeong with cold eyes. I tried to understand the reason for your arrogance. What was the result? The moment Cheongmyeong arrives, he talks shit and escalates a problem and makes it all about himself. And now he acts like a master. The problem here is also because of him, right? But my patience has its limit, and there are people in this world who don't understand words. Wow! Baekchun frowned at Cheongmyeong's exclamation. What are you trying to say? Nothing. Nothing at all. It's just a bit funny. What is? You wouldn't understand even if I told you. It's been 100 years, and he was saying the same thing Cheongmyeong used to say when he was a Sahyung. There's no use talking to you. Rather than discussing the path of Tao to Sahyung, it would be faster to recite it to a cow or a hen. Don't bother speaking if you can't fight. Humans are so similar. Otherwise, Cheongmyeong hasn't changed much in 100 years. Baekchun sharply called out to Cheongmyeong, who was chuckled in reminiscence. Raise your sword. Today, I will teach you what manners are. Will you be fine? Bastard! No, not that. But if you are in a hurry. As Cheongmyeong spoke, Baekchun narrowed his eyes. What do you want to say? No, I'm just worried. If news got out that Sasuk fought with his Saje, then your name might be tarnished. Baekchun laughed bitterly. After coming this far, now you want to play that card? You are wrong if you think that your peers or the elders will protect you. Perhaps in the future, but at this moment, there is no one that can save you. As for my punishment, I will accept it later. Oh, I haven't heard such a manly speech in a while. Cheongmyeong nodded his head. But I have a better idea. Would you like to hear it? What are you planning? No, nothing. Let's each just swear an oath. We won't tell another soul about what happens here tonight. What? Chungmyeong smiled. I'm saying that even if I get beaten, I won't tell any of the elders or anyone else. Likewise, you can't run and tell anyone if you lose this battle. Do you understand what I'm saying? Baekchun looked at Chungmyeong. What is he thinking? Baekchun examined Chungmyeong's expression, then smiled. It looks like you're trying to get out of this situation, but do you think I'll care if you try these tricks? No, that's not the case. Chungmyeong sighed, unable to overcome his frustration. I'm saying that we should throw away the titles of Sasuk, Saje, and Sahyong and have a clean fight. If we make a promise to each other that no matter what happens, I will not reach out to my seniors, I will stand here and fight my best. Of course, the same goes for Sasuk too. What do you think? Baekchun had a subtle smile. Alright, it seems you have quite a manly side to you. If you want, then I swear, I won't tell anyone what happens here. From Baekchun's point of view, there was no reason not to accept that offer. The most difficult part of beating Chungmyeong would be dealing with the undisciples, or the elders. Wasn't it obvious that they were all protective of Chungmyeong? So, if news got out that Baekchun attacked him, wouldn't it cause an endless amount of trouble for him? Yet now, Chungmyeong himself wanted to keep this matter hidden. There was no reason for Baekchun to refuse. But he couldn't erase this weird feeling inside him. Then I swear, you seriously have a manly side as well. Yes, I swear too. Then our grudges will vanish the moment we finish. Baekchun lifted his shining sword and pointed towards Chungmyeong. I'll admit that you're quite bold. In this fight, I am not your Sasuk, nor are you my Saje. I will use this fight to settle all the bad feelings that I have towards you. And you too. Fight? At that moment, he heard an eerie voice from Chungmyeong. Baekchun looked at Chungmyeong with curiosity in his eyes. Huh? Then he noticed. Chungmyeong was smiling, but unlike before, this was an evil grin that distorted his wicked features. Fight? You're going to die now, you bastard, Chungmyeong said as he walked towards Baekchun.